Yeah, okay, so I think this is the interception. Let's get that full screen, make it look real nice so everyone can see.
There, yeah, there we
Alrighty.
go.
So I think we can play it. What we're seeing a lot of is, if you can see the safety in the top left, he's just kind of sitting there. You kind of know that he's going to be playing high in the box, or at least playing a cover one robber, which we're seeing a lot of. The the safety at the top of the screen, just at the 45 there. He's completely flat footed. You know he's probably just going to stay there, kind of rob in the middle of the field. Um, we can talk about their weapons. I mean, Zay Flowers is still, I think he's crazy good, but kind of more, I don't want to say gadget player. I think that's disrespectful, but not a true number one. I think Hopkins is a little long in the tooth at this point. I think Bateman, excuse me, hasn't lived up to his potential. But this is something that we're kind of seeing out of Lamar post leg injury. And if we can start playing the clip, we're seeing a lot of offensive line breakdowns as well, which I'll get into in a second. Drops back to pass, tries to escape, and usually Lamar will take off on this play, pick up his 5-6 yards, outrun that defensive tackle easy, but he just doesn't trust himself and doesn't have the usual Lamar explosiveness to be able to get away and live to fight another day. The linebacker does a great job and comes down here, but Lamar just kind of throws up a very ill-advised pass instead of throwing it away, and the corner makes a great one-handed interception. When you're playing on a leg that you don't really trust, and you don't trust yourself to pick up this, it really inhibits what Lamar's Superman ability was, right? So unfortunately, this is just the kind of turnovers that we're seeing from them recently, trying to force a big play instead of just living to fight another day. Because you're struggling to move the ball at this point for the past few weeks. Great interception. It's just unfortunate to see. So this is, I was listening to music as I was recording these. So because of Lamar's injury, we're seeing Pittsburgh, and we'll get into this in a later clip as well. Because of Lamar's injury, Pittsburgh just does not respect him as a runner anymore. And you'll see this. You'll see Patrick Queen, number 6 here. He's going to have quasi QB spies. He's just going to kind of sit where he is. But then as soon as he sees a pass rush lane, he's just going to come right after Lamar. And you wouldn't see that in the past couple of years with a healthy Lamar. He would sit there and just read and react to the QB. But he just ends up coming on a blitz. Lamar, looking kind of like old Lamar, is still able to make a move. Protection kind of, he finds a little escape route, scores a touchdown. But teams really aren't afraid of Lamar as a runner at this point. And when that's your whole Superman ability, it's tough to move the ball. Obviously, here it works out for them. But this is just an example of teams just not respecting Lamar as a runner right now with his leg injury. Yeah, okay, I remember. Okay, so this is kind of what I mean about Lamar not having his Superman ability. So we're going to see the protection kind of break down. All the receivers are covered, so we can talk about how that's an issue and no one's getting separation. But we're going to see an easy escape route come out for Lamar on the right-hand side. I mean, they're just setting the house. Like, they are not respecting him as a runner. They're sending, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys, right? Lamar's got an easy escape route to his right, off of the right tackle, right guard. And usually you'll see him slip his way through there, pick up 5, 6. I mean, with Lamar, it could have been a touchdown. But he doesn't trust his leg. He sits in the pocket. The pressure gets to him. And he tries to throw his rush route. But obviously with the cover one robber, the safety comes down, able to make a play on the ball, incomplete pass. When you have a Superman, I keep saying that, but when you have like a crazy athlete like Lamar in the backfield, this play doesn't usually happen, right? Like, he escapes, he makes a play out of it, but at this point, with no one getting separation and you're not escaping like that, it's tough to live like that when that's your bread and butter and what you've made your career on. All right, so this one we're going to have a kind of a read option type thing with the running back. Derrick Henry goes in motion here. Now what you're going to see here is that how this play works is kind of a read option where he could hand it off to Lamar or hand it off to Derrick Henry, but he's reading number 90. TJ Watt is a great athlete, And I think the whole point of this play is we know we're not going to be able to block him very well. So let's just put him in conflict. He has to either respect Lamar as a runner or go after Derrick Henry. And whichever way he goes, Lamar is going to make his decision based off of that. So they're going to leave TJ Watt alone. Everyone's going to zone block to the left. Lamar is not a runner at this point with his injury. And TJ Watt knows this. So he's just going to crash down, completely ignoring Lamar Jackson here, and just go straight after the running back and make a big play for a 0-yard gain.
Yeah, typically if Lamar is healthy, right, TJ is completely stopping his momentum. He's going to stay square with the line of scrimmage, have his hand out, and is not losing leverage to Lamar and is staying on this outside hip here, right? But yeah, as you said, Dave, like he's taking a quick little kind of peek here, but he's not losing any momentum, right? He doesn't need to do that. He'd be completely stopped like
right
back
there
here where this guy is, right? Pretty much like just upfield, and he's just screaming down the line of scrimmage after a quick peek because like he doesn't respect it. So,
and you'll see several other plays. We could have clipped them all, but I feel like it would just be redundant, where it's this pretty much this exact same play, except for you'll see Lamar booting out to that side as a naked boot fake. So this is the same play, just at a... Is this the same play at a different angle? No, I don't think so. Okay, so as we talked about with the Raiders offense, the offensive line has also been an issue. I don't think they're getting a lot of push when it comes to the running game, and the pass pro has been pretty atrocious as well. It doesn't help that Pittsburgh is sending guys from the barn because they know that Lamar isn't really a runner at this point. But kind of the poster child in Ravens fandom right now for the pass pro issues is Daniel Faalele, who's the right guard here. And I thought this play kind of shows you exactly why he's the poster child for the Ravens' offensive woes. Those we'll see here.
Oh.
He just gets completely torn. Lamar's good enough still that he's able to get the ball off. You got a 0 tech over top of the center, and then you got the 3 tech who just makes one move inside. Faalele gets caught reaching. His feet are outside of his frame, which is not an athletic place you want to be from in a pass protection, because any sort of move is just going to completely whiff, or you're going to make you completely whiff. And he just has the highway straight to the QB.
Yeah, he tries to jump set him and does not do a good job.
Nope, absolutely not. Like, why is he exploding forward?
Because he's trying to jump set him. I don't know. Doesn't do a good job.
No.
What do we got here, Dave?
So after this was kind of later in the game, when they realized that their naked boots and their read option stuff wasn't working, they started running split zone. So what we're going to see is the fullback here end up taking the edge on the other side, while the rest of the team runs the inside zone to the left. Now, you might think that that's a good solution, which typically it might be. But when you're depending on that fullback to kind of help clear the zone for Derrick Henry, Henry still picks up 4 yards here. But the line isn't getting a great push. Henry tries to find a cutback lane, and with the offensive line struggles, it's just uninspired offense. It's like the very basic way to try and fix that, to try and make up for it. But Pittsburgh's defense just overloads the side of the ball. They got, 9 guys on the line of scrimmage there, or at least in the box. It's tough to live that way. And then here's just another view of it. So the fullback motion's over. There's just no real push from the line when you got 8 guys in the box. It's really tough to live this way. No one's respecting Lamar, of course, because they don't respect him as a runner at this point. The offense is really just boiled down to very basic runs, very basic passes, and trying to force it when you're trying to make big plays when you're struggling.
Yeah. Not a recipe for success, Dave. Not a recipe for success. Um, yeah. Well, any other comments before we get to their defense?
I think for their run game, I think they need to shift away from this zone read kind of stuff that they've made their bread and butter for the past few years, and just switch to a straight gap scheme, meaning that the linemen are just full throttle ahead, have your guys make the gaps, and Derrick Henry's the type of back who can do that, just find the gap and plow his way through it. And as for passing game stuff, it's tough when you're O-line, and unfortunately Daniel Falele, as I said, is taking the hit for it. But we got to find ways to get space and run more kind of air raid concepts rather than boot action and hoping that Lamar can make plays in that case that he doesn't. We're seeing a lot more screens than I thought they got away from that late in the game against Pittsburgh, but I think the screen passes to Zay Flowers was probably their best way of moving the ball early in that game.
Well, let's take a look at their defense here. All right. So, a couple of big issues here. So, on early downs, I think Zach Gore is actually doing a really good job. He does a good job stacking the box, limiting teams' run games. Everything looks pretty good to me. The only thing I have, and this isn't just him, like this is a big issue in the NFL for some reason. And I don't know why, because it's not like that hard to play. I think it's because they're so worried about matchups. When there's an off-ball tight end or a bunch receiver that they have a BTL motion, so behind the line of scrimmage motion post snap, so like as the ball snapped, teams don't pick them up very well. So here's an example of it, if this would work. So it's going to be this receiver here, and you'll see on film for the Ravens, this will happen with off-ball tight ends as well. This just happens to be a receiver here. So what's going to happen is he is going to cross the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball, and no one picks him up. Wide open. Easy first down. Now, this is one of the only issues on early downs. All you have to do with this is you can play this one of two ways. Either you chase, right? But if you chase, typically you're not in an advantageous position to track this down unless this guy here, who I believe this is Kyle Hamilton, so he is a dog, but it's hard for him to sift through all of this to go make this play. The best thing to do is have your backers rock with it. So this guy motions at the snap of the ball. Hamilton would rock to more inside the tackle here. I believe this is Roquan. He would go over a gap, and then this backer here would actually take him.
Yeah.
That is how you play that properly, so that boot isn't wide open, and you have the edge as well. This is the only real problem I saw on early downs, and this kind of occurred a couple times per game. If you just take that away and don't let them stay ahead of the chains, you're in pretty good shape. So other than that on early downs, nothing wrong with what they're doing. I actually like it quite a bit with what Zach Gore is doing.
No, and that's just great that's good offensive play design. That's exactly what you want out of that. If Kyle Hamilton's just going to be manned up on him and have to wade through that traffic, but he still has to respect the run to that side, that's just an easy completion for Joe Burrow.
Yep. So more so getting to the actual problems here. Issue number 2, personnel on second and long. So a lot of the time on 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, pretty much true passing situations for the most part, especially because I watched the Bengals game. The Bengals don't really run the ball very often. There's too many snaps in those obvious passing situations with true run stuffers on the field like Brent Urban or John Jenkins. Both very stout against the run, do their job well. But what will happen is teams will throw the ball and they don't do anything. And typically it's just like a typical 40 front. Ravens are mostly an odd front defense, but in these situations, they're coming out in like their even fronts and there's no games or pressures or stunts on. And it's just, hey, Brent, hey, John, go win a one-on-one. And that is not advantageous to them winning because these guys are run stuffers. That their strength is not getting upfield and attacking the passer and pushing the pocket. So I want to see either Travis Jones plus edge rushers on these downs more. Travis Jones is another interior lineman who actually does win inside and gets good push. So I want to see him plus the abundance of edges that the Ravens have. They have a ton of them. Or more creative usage of Urban and Jenkins, using some picks if they're going to go with their even front stuff to create pressure with their linebackers blitzing, or to have one of their edge players stunt inside, or something of that nature. I want to see more of that, or even in their front, like line up in some of their odd front stuff, and you can use them in the same way in that instance, but they'll be more effective than when they're just in their even front stuff. So this is the kind of look you'll see. Here's Urban. I believe this is Jenkins here. Just base 40 stuff. And the Ravens are an odd front structure and are very creative in a lot of the looks that they use. So I don't understand why in these particular situations that they're playing so vanilla. Be more creative with what you do, because they're fully capable of doing it, and they do it on early downs, and they do it on third downs too. They just need to, in these situations, do this, because when they don't do that and they line up in these fronts and just try to rush forward, the two edges aren't winning right now. These two aren't, so quarterbacks have all day to throw the ball, and it's really easy for them. Issue number 3, too much show and drop. So what I mean by that, the Ravens will show creative fronts, pressure looks, they'll mug their backers, do all these types of things, but then they don't actually ever blitz from those looks. So as much as the looks are cool and creative and creating one-on-ones with their rushers aren't winning right now. So it doesn't matter in that aspect. And also because they're not pressuring, teams aren't respecting those looks. So they'll try to create like 3 to one side, 1 on the other, and teams know what's happening because they're not blitzing from it, and they don't have to respect it in protection. So that doesn't work. Yeah. And then also there's some predictability things. When there's 2 edge players to the same side, they always run this exit or Texas stunt over and over again. There's not a lot of adaptability and switching to it, so teams just kind of know what's going to happen.
Very easy for the offense to game plan, have longer developing concepts. If you know you're getting an easy look that you can easily pick up, Burrow, Rodgers can kind of just sit there and find his open guy.
Exactly. So here is one example here. So too much drop, right? Like we're showing this 5-man front that is really popular in the odd front world. I like the personnel here. This is Jones, and then you have obviously Roquan, Kyle Van Noy, who is incredible on stunts, made a career out of it. Mike Green, and then 41 on the edge here. And so you're going against 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who can't run anymore, right? Why? Please tell me why, as the Backstreet Boys said, are you rushing 3 and spying him with Kyle Van Noy? What's the point?
Can't have a reason for it, no.
Yeah. If you're going to rush 3, play drop 8 to get an extra guy in coverage. You don't need to spy Rodgers. Like, you just don't need to do it. He's slow. You just don't need to.
He's slow, he's afraid to get hit.
He escapes and almost throws the touchdown pass. So the spy doesn't even work. Like, if you're... I don't like the design here. To me, this is a perfect situation to run a 5-man rush, play some cover 1. None of the Steelers receivers can separate that aren't named DK Metcalf. So you can run some cover 1 stuff and double him with the safety, run some pick games or something like that. Too passive, too vanilla, too easy. Should have been a touchdown.
No, I think...
That was Rodgers 5 years ago, it is.
Yeah, I think they kind of get lucky. The Ravens get kind of lucky in this play that Rodgers is afraid to get hit in his golden years and is trying to escape a bit too much. I think if he just steps up and kind of resets his pocket and is able to deliver this throw on platform, that's a touchdown.
Yep. I would agree with you. Okay, here's another example. We're showing similar look again, right? So this is a great look, right? 5 men on the line. You're going to get big on big protection, very likely. And you drop.
Everyone drops.
Everyone drops. Burrow goes, okay. Should have been a completion. Just not a... no pressure being sent, right? Rush 3, and when you're rushing 3 and no one is winning for you, when you rush 4, you're not going to win with 3. So not a good business model. Here is... this is the 2 edges to the side. So you're going to have Van Noy and 41 here to the same side. You are going to see this stunt kind of over and over again on these looks. It is very predictable, and it is easily passed off. You can actually see... this card's actually talking about the snap count with Rogers, I believe. But the center knows to push here instantly. That's the slide side because they know a pick's coming, easily picked up. That is not overly effective. Mike Green actually doing some good shit here on the edge. It's starting to come for him. It's taken a while, but it's starting to come. Biggest issue, kind of went over this already, but edge rushers are not winning their one-on-ones. Green is starting to get a bit better. He did against Pittsburgh, but he's still not winning consistently. Neither is Van Noy and company. And Travis Jones is your only inside defensive lineman who wins inside consistently. So when that happens, you might think, oh, well, there's just no way you can get a pass rush going. Wrong. The New England Patriots did it for years and won Super Bowls with no pass rushers. Minus Chandler Jones, but they lost him pretty quickly. So, how to fix this? Use the front design you already have, but with better stunts, with proper pressures, etc. Blitz enough to have teams respect exotic looks. So, every 3 times you show one of these looks, send them once. Your secondary is good enough to hold up once in a while, and man, they're not elite, but they're good enough every once in a while. And here are some examples. So, if we kind of showed it before, but if Jones was just head up, this is a very simple 5-0 look. This is the stunt not working because they play the wrong coverage to it. So the Ravens are going to stay in a too high coverage here, and what happens is Roquan is the stunt guy here. So Van Noy gets the guard going. He's wide open to loop for a sack, but Smith sees the back leaking and has to take him. It's actually a tight end here in protection. And because it's a too high look, Smith is the one that has to take the back, not a safety coming down. Right? So this kind of destroys the stunt. Burrow has an easy escape route because 41 makes an inside move with no edge. Completion to
Big
Chase
play
on the
downfield.
sideline. Right? Burrow has no room to step up in this if he's the looper, right? Jones is going to take the lineman here, and he's free to Burrow, right, if we have the proper coverage structure, but we do not. We do not. Here's the look. So pre-snap, they're in too high. This safety's kind of just sitting on routes here. If you just rotate this down, you have a 5-man rush. This safety takes the back here or adds on, and then you have him in the middle of the field kind of bracketing Chase. You're good. You win here, and you get a sack on Burrow, but they decide not to do that. So here's a team utilizing this correctly. This is the New England Patriots. This is a terrible game for Falcons fans, and I'm sorry. It was just the easiest clip to find. What you're going to see here, it's the same 5-0 look, right? So you're going to get big on big protection. Watch how the Patriots utilize a stunt here to sack Matt Ryan. There is Kyle Van Noy coming for a sack. You have the guy that used to do this all the time, use him, right? So you're getting big on big protection. Okay, the nose is going to set a pick here on 67, who has Van Noy. So as we continue here, There's the pick. 67 now has to chase. They kind of try to pass it off, but then Hightower picks the guard, and you're in no man's land. Here comes Kyle Van Noy untouched with Jabal Shurd off the edge, kind of backing up that tackle. Honestly, if Shurd doesn't win here, this is an even better lane for him. So,
Yeah.
but
Greedy, selfish football.
yeah, just had to try to win himself. But anyway, they get a sack out of it, right? So this is easy to do. Like, this is a really easy pick stunt. I forget what the Patriots called this. It might have been cold. Can't recall. I saw a really good video on it. But really easy pick stunt. Like, I've run this at the high school level. NFL teams can do this simply. Like, this isn't just because Belichick's a genius. Like, it is and it isn't. Very easy to replicate, right? So, need to see more of this. You can get Van Noy to do this, as obviously Van Noy is good at it. But also, I would suggest using Mike Green here, right? Like, he's developing as an edge rusher still. He's an explosive athlete. Get him working towards space in these stunt games, and he will close on quarterbacks and finish them. He might not win on the edge every time right now, but this is a good way, as he develops more as a pass rusher, to use him for some better looks to get on the stat sheet. Here's another example. This is a longer clip because I didn't cut it properly. Here we go. All right. This is kind of going to work off of what they just did. Watch Van Noy again here. He is going to pick the tackle and then ricochet and get prime Mahomes down. Or actually, I think this might be rookie Mahomes. Or sophomore, technically. First-year starter Mahomes, right? So this works off of the last one. So this is Van Noy here. We have man-on-man. We have big-on-big to this side, right? Van Noy is going to hit Schwartz and then ricochet to Mahomes. And then I believe this is Shurd here. He is going to be the looper. Got a sack. So same look again. Ravens literally already run this front. What they need to do from it now is utilize it more effectively, run some more cover one looks, and be able to get to the quarterback because of it, rather than kind of not having the right coverage calls so the stunt doesn't work properly. And stop just showing and dropping. Bring 5 sometimes. Play some fire zone. I don't care. Figure it out, but like, you need to have 5 to use those stunts properly, and then you can work with the simulateds from there.
Like we say with offense, like, you can't be easy to defend. You got to throw in wrinkles. Everything has to build off of each other. Same thing on defense, pass rush. Don't be easy to block. And right now the Ravens are very easy to block. Pittsburgh is well coached, but the way that even the Bengals were picking up those wannabe not blitzes, you just can't live that way. You're making the QB's life way too easy.